Who am I hearing? Is that me?
Your kids.
I don't know.
Oh, it's not.
Nobody's lighting up.
No, somebody did light up. It was and he already muted himself already, so I think we're good.
Okay. Is it Melo? He's usually the background noise guy.
Who was it, Hilty?
It was Wilden.
Wilden.
Are you watching TV? Are you watching something?
Is he watching the movie right now?
The movie's going on right now, maybe?
Yeah, I don't actually even know what the movie is this week, so I'm just kind of, no, I'm kidding.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the BTB Movie Club podcast. My name is Dan Sears. We hope you enjoyed today's movie discussion. Thanks for listening.
Hey, welcome to the BTB Movie Club. My name's Tim Larson. We're here to talk about a movie. This is number 214. Sneaky Dan Sears getting a pick in today. It's called The Long Game, a historical sports drama. Dan, why don't you tell everybody how you came up with The Long Game, and let's have a fun discussion.
I looked at the other movies available and saw it, so I picked it.
Love the enthusiasm, Dan. Way to get behind all of the drama build up there.
No,
happy holidays,
it's winter. It's winter. I figured we could use a little golf summer movie to get us through the winter. So I saw this on one of my movies and looked interesting. I never seen or heard of it before, so I decided to give it a shot.
Which movie was this? The more like this section from?
On the Basis of Sex.
Yeah.
The Felicity Jones movie.
Obvious connection.
Yeah. It was, Brian had me pick this. I had to pick a movie that had a Star Wars actor or actress in it.
Are you trying to blame me for watching this movie? Is that what's going on right now?
What?
No.
Somebody's
not at
getting
all.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
All right. So this Dennis Quaid and Jay Hernandez, is that his name?
Yep.
Yeah, they were in The Rookie together, another sports drama. So they've worked together before, and let's start off with is that like golf hat you got on there, Aaron?
I believe so. I would call it a golf hat. I don't know if I would pigeonhole it.
It's a Payne
Brian, do you have
Stewart
any
golf
better
hat.
name for it? Is it?
I feel that falls under a TAM.
But not quite a scally.
No, it's not a Scotland.
All right. Well, Aaron, since you're decked out, you're up first.
Well, thank you, Dan, for picking me, not for making me watch this movie. But not like, so I knew nothing about it as well. I didn't even know what the movie was, which is not anything new. I really enjoyed the color. To me, out of the whole thing, the muted green and the burgundy that they used throughout the film stood out, and I thought it was really pretty to look at. I mean, it wasn't terrible. I've seen worse. It's just, I thought super formulaic. You knew exactly what was going to happen. There were no twists or turns. I don't want to pick it apart. I'm sure several of you, there's things about golf that I noticed that I'm sure you all noticed too. But I don't want to say it in case I'm wrong. The story was the average, underdog, pull yourselves up by your bootstraps, work real hard, and everything will work out kind of movie. The only thing that I noticed that I do want to point out, it seemed like they might have spent all their cast money on maybe Dennis Quaid, because the extras seemed very, very thin. Where there were supposed to be crowds at maybe the golfing events and especially the parade. There was lots of low angles shooting high, so you really didn't, notice that the parade had like 15 people at it. But other than that, it was fine. Everything about it was fine. The acting was okay. There was some stuff that, it wasn't the best. at anything, but there wasn't one particular thing that I thought was like terrible and, a reason not to watch it. It was a fine film to put on. I probably wouldn't have wanted to uh, pay for it, but as far as it being on and I watched it, I don't regret watching it, but I wouldn't watch it again. And that's all I have to say about that.
All right. So to get a sense of the group here, who are golfers and who are not golfers?
Not a golfer.
Gotta ask
Define
all that.
golfer.
Well,
I've seen Matt golf.
It's not pretty.
I was gonna say that's a
It qualifies. Qualifies.
but like something, the rules and
Oh,
some of the
I mean,
etiquette and things like
Some of
that.
it, yeah.
well, I mean, I know some of the rules and the etiquette. That doesn't mean I'm a golfer.
I would agree with that.
You are
wholeheartedly.
correct. That is
Yeah.
a fair statement.
I'm just
Self-admitted. Self-admitted.
yeah.
So put your hand up if you're a golfer. If you consider yourself a golfer.
I guess by Dan's definition, I no.
Dan, not even you. You don't consider yourself a golfer?
Oh,
You go
well,
on golfing
I just
trips.
thought it was a given. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah.
I put my hand up.
The majority.
Okay. I was gonna try to go with, golfer, not golfer, a little rotation going here. So, okay, so Brian, you are up next.
So I watched the movie from beginning to end. It's a good story. If you read it though, like it sounds a lot. There's these 5 kids built a golf course in the South Texas desert. Did you see desert anywhere around? I didn't even see a golf course. I saw one hole that they started at 2 different places. One's a par 3 and par 4. That's not building a golf course. So it's a little misleading as the headlines of the movie. Didn't know anything about these guys or what they went through or anything like that. And I'm sure it's, it was tough for them. Somewhere I read it was something about remember the Titans, but golf. And I was like, no, horse shit. It would be more like that. I can't now, damn it. I had it written down. I can't find it. The Josh Lucas was the coach of the African-American team in college. He was the first one to Glory Road. Yeah, it would be more like that, but with golf is how I would go with it. And it's just, we've seen the struggle of minorities in the evil white world that we've all created. So, yeah, but golf is that different level of it because of the whole idea of it being a well-to-do sport and golf etiquette. I like the fact, the one thing he wanted to teach that he thought if you taught them golf etiquette, then they would be accepted. And it was like, no, that's not how it would be. It would, if they were, 5 Tiger Woods playing, then, they still would get shit, but they would earn respect a lot quicker. And the Joe character who kept being angry about everything and wanted to fight everybody, like it starts with showing him in a fight with 3 guys because they thought the word went back. So, it was I'm not going to say it's been done before because obviously it hasn't with golf, but the whole idea of the storyline has been done before. I don't mind being educated on the fact that these kids did this down in South Texas and overcame the bigotry to win a state championship. Coach stepping up for a kid and taking the blame for breaking the window so that the kid could continue to play. And so the not moral of the story or anything, but I guess the last thing I want to talk about of it is how you could kind of see it coming when the weather got bad and they still all played really well because that's how they practice. They practice in the rain. They practice with no gloves, no grip on the clubs and things like that. So they still played well, and that's why they won the state championship the way they did. So um, overall, not mad that I watched the movie because it was golf, but would have rather watched Cheech Marin and Tin Cup than Cheech Marin walk around in a cage for the metaphor of protecting himself. So
Yeah, the cage thing was a little odd. I mean, he was always wearing it. It seemed like
Yeah.
he's like walking out in the parking lot and he's got the cage on.
Yeah, probably
It
gets
was a little odd.
looks when he goes to a restaurant wearing that thing. Probably gets looks.
well, the other funny thing is like he has the coach put the cage on that doesn't hide anything, his face or anything, but he's like, go ahead and ride out there on the,
Right.
it's like they're still going to see him.
Yeah. Also, he
So,
takes the top off to look at Joe in that one
right.
scene. So it's like,
Yeah.
But anyways, and then that's the other,
Yeah.
like, I'm going to go on the final hole with you guys. Yeah. So
Yeah, but
some
but him
plot
breaking the
holes.
window, I mean, what would you get a fine for that? I mean, he took the blame for it for him, but I wouldn't think you'd be thrown in jail for something like that. But Brian, so a question for you. So when the guys took the flag stick out and threw it on the ground and walked away, how would you have
Mhm.
handled that situation?
I feel in a
Nope.
calm,
Nope. Nope.
but just
Nope. That's not how he would handle it.
I would have hit a ball at them as they were walking off the green.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then went and found that ball, showed them it was mine, and explained why I did it, and then probably hit them with the flag.
Okay. All right.
anything else?
Well, we'll see what happens after I hit him. I mean,
Okay.
and the thing is, anyone who's golfed with me knows this is actually truth
Yeah.
coming straight out of my
Yeah, I'm glad you were truthful with us.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
better person.
Okay. All right, we're gonna go up there to Matt Smith is up.
All right. Yeah, never seen this before. Like Brian kind of said, I read the description about how they built a golf course all by themselves
That is a
in
weird way to
Texas.
describe this movie.
And I was like, oh,
Yes.
this is going to be something spectacular. This is going to be hardship and sweat and blood and tear. And it was a little bit, but not quite to the degree. I think they oversold it a little bit. Um, yeah, it was fine. I think Brian said the same thing. I don't mind having a historical event be presented to me. I didn't know anything about this. It's very cool. Um, uh, it's very heartwarming. It's a great story. The movie's just not very good, unfortunately. Like, the acting was so. The movie was all about Joe. If you kind of look at it, it starts out as a movie about JB, and then it kind of becomes this movie about Joe. And they don't even, I mean, they kind of talk about the other guys, but like nothing. And what's funny is if you read the at the end, Joe's like the one who didn't golf. He like went and did something else. Everybody else either went to the military or became a golf teacher or a golf.
I feel he was
Okay.
only part of the civil service for 34 years. No big deal.
Well, you know what I mean, though. Like that's not if the heart
That's
of
not
this,
golfing.
if the heart of the story is these kids learn how to golf and overcome all these obstacles, which is great. Yeah. So anyway, it was a fine movie. It wasn't something I'd probably turn on again. Um, you know, they kind of had this weird side story with the girl, Joe and the girl, that felt kind of forced. Like, hey, we can't just make a 2-hour movie about these Mexican immigrant uh, children of Mexican immigrants. We can't just make this movie about them golfing. We have to have something else. Um, so yeah, it was just kind of strange. I thought they were gonna get more into JB's like military, like he clearly had some PTSD going on, and kind of obviously used golf as a way to um, kind of soothe that. They made it PG, so I think a lot of the realism of this is probably lost in the PG rating. If you think about how those kids probably would have really been treated by white people in 1956 Texas, I'm guessing it wasn't calling them Mexican or boy. I'm sure it was a lot worse than that. So I think, not that I want to see that happen to people, but I think it's like the realism part of it would have been better if they would have, even PG-13, let them swear at them or something. Um, and it was very cliche. It was a very normal, like sports underdog kind of movie. They got what they wanted in the end. Um, you know, Whatever. So for that reason, it's fine. I just think it was oversold. It did not do what they wanted it to do. I wonder how difficult this would have been to make it a documentary. Like instead of trying to make up all this story and get actors and these kids and the golf, like I wouldn't mind watching a documentary about these kids. I think it'd be very interesting, you know, the building of the course and the Texas State Championship and like what actually happened. So, but I don't know how much footage survived. They showed a little bit at the end. It was 1956. I don't know how many people were filming their high school golf championships at that point, but yeah, so it was okay. It was fine. It wasn't the worst thing we've watched in this group. I know that's a pretty low bar, but it's definitely, and it's not even Dan's worst pick. So let's be happy about that.
Wow.
Man,
Sorry, Dan.
yell 4 before you do that. Good call.
Yeah, let me duck. All right.
Did anybody look up, since Matt brought it up, at the end of the movie when it said that was in civil service for 31 years or whatever? Did anybody look up, like I didn't, what that meant? It struck me odd that they just said civil servant. So I was just looking up what that could be: firefighter, social worker, postman, air traffic controller.
Oh, it's just a
Like,
collective term.
it's a wide range of,
It
Garbage
probably
man. He
sounds
was a
better than
garbage
he was a
man.
mailman for 34 years or
That's right.
something.
We'll
Like
say that. That's fine.
Yeah.
That's still,
yeah, it's nothing wrong with it. It's just, I
Yeah.
mean,
yeah. So nobody looked it up to see what he did. I didn't care either at the time.
yeah.
I was like, that is a big group of things to be.
Hmm.
Anyway, all right.
Okay. All right. So Hilty, you're up. I don't know if Hilty, you can talk to some of the, especially at the beginning, there was kind of some like weird camera angles going on. I'm not sure what they were doing, if there's some kind of thing they were trying to do there. I don't know if you know the answer to that or not. But but you're up.
I'm gonna guess that because this movie had a $7 million budget that couldn't afford a lot of strong crew members or anything like that. And I'm assuming that I can't remember who said it, but I feel like the majority of the salary for this did go to Dennis Quaid because he's the most famous person in this. Jay Hernandez, he's done fine for himself, I guess, but it's Dennis Quaid is the biggest name for this. So
What was the
remember,
budget? Do you know?
$7 million.
Okay.
$7 million, gross $3 million. So not a hit by any means or anything like that. First time seeing this, probably the last time I'm seeing this as well. Um, it this movie is perfectly fine. That I think that's just the best way that I could put it. It's perfectly fine. It doesn't devolve too much into cliche, but it kind of does as well because the one thing that I think this movie has going for it is that this isn't so much a white savior movie like you would find with a lot of movies in this particular genre. This, and for me, this movie reminds me a lot of McFarlane USA. Has anyone ever seen that one?
I
So
have, yeah.
McFarlane USA is about a cross-country team in California. They're from a poor part, or they're in a poorer part of California, and it is predominantly the town is predominantly made up of Hispanic and Mexican immigrants. So Kevin Costner swoops in. He is a disgraced football coach, or a football coach who got fired or whatever. And he takes this team, forms a cross country team because it's a cheap sport that doesn't involve a whole lot of equipment or really coaching, especially since most of these kids, they go to school and they work in the fields during after school and during the weekends. So these kids, they've got a natural inclination for endurance and not giving up. So it reminded me a lot of this movie because it has a lot of the same themes, except thankfully there's not a white savior that comes in and saves the day. It's That's kind of the one thing that kind of makes this slightly different. And I think for me, the biggest thing is that golf is just not my jam. I I was a caddy for 3 years, and that ruined golf for me forever. So I don't play golf. I like to watch golf. I'm a fan of watching it. I just don't play. So that probably has something to do with it as well. Not a particularly well-made movie by any stretch of the imagination as well. Um, some of the research that I've done, not a whole lot going on for it, or not a whole lot of notoriety when it comes to the crew, the cinematographer, writer. Um, Matt, Matt, uh, I probably would have wanted to see a documentary about this instead. Can even take it a step further, just read the book instead, because I'm sure the book is I see that look, Aaron. It's like, no, no, reading a book, no. But I don't know, like this, I get the appeal of why this story is important to tell in a day and age when we need to tell diverse types of stories from a lot of different things. Um, I think I think if they could have done something differently, I think if they would have tried something different, I think this would have been a straight to streaming movie if they would have thought about it, and they just would have thrown it on a streaming platform instead. But they didn't, and didn't make a whole lot of money, and now it's on Netflix, and yeah, it's perfectly fine. Nothing overly offensive about it. I wholeheartedly agree that the PG rating it kind of like Disneyfies the whole experience. What I'm sure it's really like, because you know what they say about Texans, tolerance is definitely high up there on their list. So
I was
So,
going to say the
for all of
same
our
thing.
Texas
Like
listeners out there, Mike Hilty's opinions do not necessarily, never mind.
I was going to say that was something I thought of while I was watching. It seemed like it should have been on the Disney Plus channel, not
yeah,
whatever it
that's
was on.
And what year
Yeah.
did this come out?
it came out last year. It came
Okay,
out
so
last year.
Yeah.
I'm there's probably the teachers in the room. I could see this being shown in a classroom. I mean, that might have been a reason why they wanted to keep it PG, because this would be great for some social studies class, especially down south. On a day when you're absent, just tell the sub to play this and give them your Netflix password or whatever. I guarantee that happens. So, and a PG would help just
Yes.
make that available for
Mhm.
use.
Yep.
All right.
I
So
did.
Hilty, I am curious. You said that caddying ruined golf. Was it the way you were treated, or the way you saw other people acting on the golf course, or what was it?
Yes. Yes. All
Okay.
all of that. I caddied at a country club around me, and boy, those guys are assholes sometimes. And our golf course was a strict no tip golf course, so that made it even worse as
Hmm.
well. But the course was beautiful. I would say 30% of the people there were actually tolerable, and you got a lot of good exercise in sunshine or sunlight. So I will I will say that, especially if you're doubling up and doing two bags at once, or you're four caddying, which is pretty much you're chasing a golf cart the whole day. So
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Interesting.
Hallmark
Aaron, I
was my
did look
first.
it up. He worked on the Air Force Base in civil service.
Hmm.
So they still didn't give a specific, but there's other like there's things you can do. You can be a aircraft repair person, you can do some other stuff on the base. So he did end up doing military, which is kind of the beginning of the movie was all about them not going to just be in the military, but then halfway.
But and you like a civilian job on a military base, because
Yeah.
that was one of the things it said in the list that I looked at was air traffic control, and I was like, that seems very specialized and important, and
Yeah.
Okay.
cool, good to know.
All right. Let's go with a golfer. Tim, you're up.
Yeah, I think similar theme here. When we see a movie that we really, really like, we give it high praise. I think what we're hearing about this one is low praise. Like nobody's saying it's a terrible movie. It's fine. It's nice. Like I'm glad I watched it. We're hearing a lot of that, and I'm kind of in the same camp for the same reason. Like I wrote down a list of movies that I thought this borrowed from. I noticed while watching it, I was like, this scene reminds me of this movie, and this scene reminds me of this movie. So I'm going to run through this list real quick. Some of them might be stretches, but just work with me for the idea here. Um, I thought of Dead Poet Society, where the kid wants to golf, the dad doesn't want him to golf. He lies to his dad and he golfs anyway, like the one kid that's acting when his dad says you can't act. The
Oh, and then
Rookie.
there's the part at the end where they all stand on their desks and say, "Oh, Captain, my Captain," right?
What are you doing?
In the
So,
long game.
the next
Yeah.
one, the
No?
rookie is an obvious connection with the two actors in there. He's got to grow the grass. The team's not very good, and then they do all this work to make the team better. I thought of Hoosiers when he gives the big speech about the best golfer isn't the one with the nicest equipment. It's the one that keeps swinging when times get hard. Um, I thought of Goodwill Hunting at the end when
Yeah.
Joe basically says, "Hey, I can't come to practice." Like the end of Goodwill Hunting when he says, "I got to go see about a girl." Even Sandlot, where they mess with the Beast. He does the big run with the Beast, and they're afraid to go back to the owner, but they don't really get in trouble. James Earl Jones is really nice to him. That reminded me of like when Joe hit the ball and broke the window and the superintendent catches up with him, but they don't really get in trouble. He's like, mow my lawn every now and then, but I want you to start a golf team. So he kind of takes the negative into a positive. And 42, when Jackie Robinson gets into the major leagues and people are stepping on his foot when he goes to first base and just, all the kind of shit they were giving him. And I even went with Animal House with the specialized golf shot where you're standing off to the side and you aim at something and you have this incredible shot. Um, yeah, I'm saying the same thing a couple of you guys have said. There's some cliches in here that remind me of other movies that have already kind of done this sort of thing, right? It's a unique story in that it's a bunch of Mexican high school kids on a golf team. That's definitely new, but a lot of what we saw in the plot or the relationships wasn't necessarily new. So, Aaron, by the way, I wanted to say to you that no way, man, I'm playing for Chubb. Just saw the hat, and I just wanted to throw that quote out there. Um, the director's name is Julio Quintana. I don't know much else what he's done, but I kind of agree. I watched it. I didn't not like it. I was like, okay, I see what we're doing here. I always enjoy the true story summary at the end, what the kids did. I think that's cool. I like the message that this guy, Jay Hernandez's character, JB Pena, the superintendent, I like the message that he's trying to convey to them that, you know, don't fight this kind of power with anger. Fight this by blending into their world with the etiquette and stuff that you guys already talked about. So, um, yeah, I mean, nice pick, decent movie. I don't think anybody of us can give us high praise because it's not put together that well. I think it borrowed from a lot of other movies that have already told similar things. So that's my take on it. Thanks, Dan. I do enjoy some good golf stuff. Um, Watching him putt on the really thick grass was cringy. I was like, what do you guys even, why are you putting on this? It's like shag carpet out there. Um, I can't remember anything golf wise that I saw that really made me go, ooh, as a golfer, I love this. Like maybe that's something I was missing was like, hit around a tree or, show me some miraculous shot. Like they kind of skipped over all of the actual golf action stuff.
What I noticed, what I thought, um, in that scene or even before that scene, whenever they were on their golf course that they had made and they were up on the hill, weren't their swings terrible? All of them? Like, wasn't there a lot of knee bouncing and just I didn't think it was looked like realistic golf swings.
Right.
And it never really got taught where they never, nobody ever coached them on how they should be. It just either they got better or it just didn't matter and they didn't address it.
Yeah.
Well, the one time the lefty was holding the club backwards. So if he actually would have hit the ball, who God knows where it would have went. But
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, actually, the kids that actually did this story obviously were very good golfers because they won the state championship. But yeah, just don't think that these kids were. I think these kids are probably, acting as their thing, not golfing. But yeah, you could think they would, do some kind of CG or something like that would make it look like they were, doing some good golf shot. But they didn't want to spend money,
how
I
to
guess.
play a draw was kind of.
I'm sorry, Melo.
The closest they got, maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, keep going, Melo.
Okay. Yeah, all the same stuff. I thought actually that I'd be a little bit. I was worried. I'm like, man, I don't want to have kind of the same vibe as I did with Wicked, kind of thing. Like, for what it is, it's done fine. My wife loved it. I knew she would. She loves Hallmark and all that shit. Like, it's and I don't mean that negative. It's for what it is, but it's you pretty much knew what it was going to be. And then like the other side of it, like, okay, cool, man, that's awesome. They overcame all the terribleness and uh, won the championship and all. Like, that's awesome. The other side of that, it's just so infuriating that they had to eat shit for so long just to almost maybe be kind of thought of as somewhat okay. Like, it's just, it's annoying. And a reminder of, how far we still have to go. And this is 70 years later. So anyway, there was all that. I laughed at James Bean. That made me laugh. When they called the one kid the Mexican James Dean. It said James Bean. There was the thing early too with the guy who managed the country club. He was shot from a low angle, very steady, and then they showed JB, and it was steady cam and like not so steady. And so I don't know if that was. I have no idea what it was supposed to. Why they made that choice, but they made that choice to reflect or show some anxiety, maybe, or nervousness. I don't know, but there were a couple different times where there was some shot choices that I know they know why they made them, but I don't know that it translated as well as they wanted it to the audience.
Perhaps that art is difficult to interpret, right?
Yeah. One choice that I thought was kind of interesting was the fact that they made a point to show that they didn't fit in Mexico either, and so it just kind of emphasized how these kids just that's all they wanted. That's all anybody wants, right? To fit in and feel like the thing or the place or the environment that you care about cares about you, or at least appreciates that. And
that was their big deal about going over there. It's like, well, we don't really fit in the US. Let's go over to Mexico where we're going to fit in.
Yep. And nope, people are terrible everywhere. So the only other thing, and Jamie and I were talking about it today, so we watched it Friday night, and then I always have great intentions about, especially a story like this, following up and going, okay, well, what really happened and what didn't? And we kind of alluded to it earlier with the, he took the fall for him and he was arrested, but then afterward, no real ramifications for that in any way. Like he could have been like, no, you guys are disqualified. You didn't actually win because your coach who was banned showed up on the course. And that would have been a shitty white guy thing to do.
Yeah.
So I wondered how much of that was real, how much of any of it. Like, not that it was real, but you know what I mean? How accurate certain aspects or choices they made. So I don't know if anybody checked into that or not. I didn't, but would like to know. So anyway,
it does seem like
that's
they made some
from that.
choices about plot in relationships. Like I don't know how closely that aligns with what happens. And when Aaron's done reading that book, we'll find out.
Okay. So never.
Yeah. Okay. So Weldon, I have the feeling you did not watch the movie.
Well, I did.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, then you're up.
Yeah, I just finished it as you were saying. I'm kidding. No, so I don't really have a lot to contribute because everybody's kind of said most of what I would say. As I was watching it, I kind of just had the feeling of like, I've seen this movie before. Like, I haven't seen this movie, but, it's like a very cliche sports, supposed to inspire you type movie. It had, checked all the boxes with the coach and the troubled kid that's the star and he's talented, but and then his dad doesn't approve and all. It's like, yeah, this is okay. This is all very I want to say somebody said the word formulaic.
Mhm.
Um, and
But
then
it
like,
was
okay, well,
interesting though, if I can stop you for 1 second when you were talking about that, because his dad said that to him, and then later on he said that to his girl, like, you can't go to that writing school
I
because they're gonna.
that is the one part I actually kind of was like, oh, like I see what they're like. There's some actual like character development here because they're showing that result like that one part. I'm not gonna say I enjoyed it because it's not obviously an enjoyable thing, but it was just like I appreciate the fact that they did that. There were parts of this that I mean, everybody said it. There were parts of this that were fine to, yeah, I mean, but I don't know. It was all right. I had to. Yeah, I was kind of just cleaning my apartment and watching it a little bit, and then after the first 20 minutes, I was like, I don't remember a single thing about what I've just seen here, just because I don't know, just didn't interest me. So I actually sat down and watched it, but yeah, I don't know, that's fine. I'm just repeating what everybody else is saying.
All right.
The idea of checking the boxes, has come up. So, and kind of as more people said it, it's almost like I want to say it's like a kid giving a presentation or whatever. And you've been there, whether you were in the class watching it. It's like you give the kid the rubric, and they do everything, and um, they've checked every box. They've met to the letter of the law. They've met everything you asked them to do, but it's just like, but they read the paper,
Really
or
learn anything
they
from
they
this?
didn't put any, as far as the teacher wanted them to put feeling, and I want you to get into this, and I
Right.
want you to really, it's like, well, yeah, technically I got to give you an A because you did everything I asked you to, but
Yeah.
what you did compared to what Shelley did, like, did
Right.
you see what Shelley did?
Yeah. The title should be I Followed the Rubric.
Right.
Right.
So yeah,
I
I don't know. It's like it checked all the boxes, and I want to believe it was like a money thing. I want to believe they were well intentioned and somebody really wanted to tell this story, and it just got handicapped by the amount of money they had to play with. So that's what's in my mind. They couldn't make the movie that they wanted to, because of the budget.
yeah, I'd agree with that. I liked towards the end when like Joe called him and was like, "Hey, like I'm not coming back or whatever." That was very cliche and formulaic as well. But I kind of laughed to myself when it was like, "Oh yeah, I finally got my eye on the flag," and it's the girl across the quad who obviously is seeing him for the first time in a while, didn't realize he was going to be there in Austin. Realistically, how many times does that actually work out for him? Like it very easily, and I mean, I've been there where you make the big move and then that girl's just like, "Oh, yeah, no. That's, it's just I don't know. I laughed at the idea of that whole that was one of the least believable parts of it for me, I suppose.
You would have believed it more if he would have walked up to the table and they would have kept the shot on her, but over someone's shoulder. And as he got there, like a 6'2" white guy turned around who she was having coffee with, you know.
Well, I wouldn't have liked that at all. But I
Well, after she
but
says
no,
no, clearly you join the civil service for 33 years if she says no when you get there.
right. No, you know, you never know. I don't know. I got nothing. That's all I got.
You know, a couple of us have brought up the beginning of this movie. I was very confused with the beginning. I thought you see the guy putting on the tie and going for what looks like a job interview. And then you see the kids on the hill and it looks very different. I thought we were going back in time and forward in time. I thought they were the same character. And then when they broke the window and the guy gets out of the car, I was like, "Oh, it's a time machine movie. This is cool. He's seeing his former self." It took me a minute to catch on with where we were going. Not a lot of minutes, but it took me a minute to catch on.
After the
I
window was broken, you were still
No, that part's a joke, Melo.
okay.
I was doing it.
I kind of felt like
How dumb are you?
Well,
I
I've given you guys reason to believe from time to time.
I did enjoy Oscar as the I don't know whatever
Yes.
was he a teacher or was
Principal.
he an assistant principal or
Principal.
he was
His
principal?
role,
Okay.
his title was principal. The other guy was superintendent, but
Right.
it
And that
seemed
was
like
very
one
weird how
very
the
small school.
yeah. Well, and
Yeah.
at the pep rally, there was 25 kids in the school.
Mhm.
But even the way Oscar talked to him, you know, like telling him what he should be doing, I'm like, there's no way a principal would ever talk to a superintendent like
I think
Yeah.
superintendent means something different.
that.
No, seriously, in
Oh.
that like context, I think they meant something else. That's just what they called whoever his job was.
Good chair or something. I don't know.
Something.
I did kind of like despite myself, I kind of chuckled. I feel like the part was kind of forced. I feel like the joke was forced, but when like they bail what's his name out of jail and they all realize they're cousins, it's like they do that and then you know JB, what's the coach's name? They just kind of like, okay, and they just kind of move on. And that's what you do, like the audience does with the scene too. It's like, all right, we just told this joke and revealed that these three random characters are cousins, and there's no reason for anybody to need to know that. And then we all just move on. And I was like, wait, what? Okay.
All
See,
That
right.
just
what I
felt
think could
very
have
just
turned this movie
shoehorned in.
all around is at the end we got a slow clap. I mean, if we would have got a
This is-
slow clap,
You can tell by his facial expression when he starts one of these. He's not going anywhere. Yeah, slow
that
clap
would've-
always helps a sports movie.
and another useless scene in the movie at the end when he's like, "Hey, take this trophy and walk in there with your heads held high, and then get the fuck out right away. Run through there." Like everyone else is sitting there having drinks and you cheer, and they just boom and then leave. It's like, okay, you didn't. Whoa, way to show them. I mean, there was no point to it.
Yeah, I think the point was supposed to be they're never allowed in there, but because they won, they figure they'll walk through and nobody will say anything to them. But that point's not made. You're just like I watched it too. Like what was the purpose of that? Like, yeah, agreed.
So would it have been better just if like so maybe the kid who I think was the judge's son that tried to get him to fight him by putting, you know, saying he addressed the ball or whatever and added 2 strokes. Because it seemed like they had the cliche, you know, fight me, you know, he's trying to get him ejected. And then when it didn't happen, it was almost like, you're all right, you know, a couple scenes later, you know, if in that scene when they're walking through, if he like, you know, handed him a, you know, a Pepsi or a Coke or whatever, you know, and
Or
they like
started the slow clap.
and had a Pepsi together, and then the rest of the room could have started the slow clap for the white kid that was magnanimous in offering the free pop. And everybody would have been winners that day.
The way he stepped in the line, I'd have been swinging.
Yeah, He didn't just step. He stepped and twisted.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It was the heel first. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He accused him of grounding his club in the sand
Mhm.
in that one scene.
I feel like that's another thing about that. I mean, obviously, they were treated in real life, they're going to be treated like shit. And, Matt Smith said earlier that it wasn't racist enough for him. But
Wait,
I'm kidding.
hey,
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Quote.
You
I'm
did.
I'm
You said you
paraphrasing
wanted
you to
some
make it look
slurs.
bad.
Make it an R. Give us some
If you
slurs.
remember, he called Nikki ugly too one time.
that's no, but
No, but like even the like I guess you'd say the villains, it's like all of the racism and all of like the teams that they're playing against. It just felt like I don't know. It didn't. I agree. This needed to be on like the Disney Channel because this was very the PG thing did it's all jokes aside, Matt. I think you're right. The PG thing did take away from it. And like I don't know. There's just something about like whenever somebody would do something shitty to him, it's like I'm doing this because I'm white and you're not. Like it just seemed a little. It all seemed forced.
All right.
That's the last thing I was going to say. I wonder how interesting the actual story is. Like great accomplishment, very cool, horrible time to, or tough to be able to, but beyond that, I don't know how much real other conflict there was.
Mela, I'd like to
Yeah.
point out that is a great question, and we look forward to the answer to that after you read this book, Mustang Miracle. It's available on Amazon in paperback. It's a nice quick read. It's 100 and some pages. I saw 156 pages. So I bet the answers to those questions are right in that paperback book, available on
Is that a
Amazon.com.
Scheffler? There was a Scheffler quote on that?
Uh,
I think there was a Steve, a Scheffler,
Scotty
or
Scheffler
Sky
and
Scheffler.
Steve Scheffler. It's a
Scotty
guy
Scheffler.
they just grab.
I think that's a
My
if you like this
cousin.
book, you might like that book kind of thing going on there.
Okay.
Does it say anything about them building a golf course in that?
Oh yeah, that's a good question. Let's bring that back
In the
up.
desert.
Sharing the screen here
A
with the
very
Amazon.
lush green
Um,
shag carpet desert.
In 1957, when very few Mexican Americans were familiar with the game of golf and even less actually played it, a group of young caddies, which had been recruited to form the high school golf team, did they build a limited access to? I don't see anything about building. Yeah, this is more accurate than the movie description.
I don't know. Maybe you should click the little button where it says read a sample.
That's
I know.
And then read it to us, although
Yeah.
it's on the screen.
Yeah. I sped it up a little bit. There you go.
Chapter 1.
It was the best of times. It was.
Aaron's just like, I'm dying right now. We're gonna read a book.
It was.
I love being read to. I would listen to an
There you
audio
go.
book.
Yeah, take that, Brian.
Whoa! Dan said it.
And I read
Okay,
G.I. Joe.
well, this movie, I had high hopes when I saw it. That looked very interesting, but yeah, it falls short. Sometimes when you hit a ball off the tee, you hit one 300 yards right down the middle, and sometimes you slice one into the houses over on the right, and yeah, I kind of sliced one on the shot on this movie. So
We've done plenty of both. That's for sure. Well-intended backswing, Dan. Well-intended backswing.
yeah, they're usually well intended. It doesn't always work out though.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think we probably can put a cap on the movie The Long Game. I let Brian know nice and early that it was his time to make the pick this week. Plenty of notice. Hilty already has the next podcast. I'm on top of my game today, guys. So, Brian, your pick for the movie number 215.
So 4 minutes ago, Tim texted me. By the way, it's your pick, but I knew it was mine.
I don't think people needed to know that.
Oh,
sorry. Never
good. I was all over the place. I was looking at a bunch of movies. I had a bunch of picks, and I decided I'm going to do something different. And since Brandon's not here anymore, I'm going to pick from his pick Bloodsport, and we're going to watch Kickboxer. Okay, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. We're not watching Kickboxer.
Boo! Don't get our hopes up like that.
Who's ready,
Sorry
man?
about that.
I like
Sorry
a
about
good
that.
Muay Thai movie.
However, I did pay for Bloodsport, so if anyone wants to come over and watch it, it's available here at the Larson household.
Yeah, after watching this movie on social injustice, I decided we were going to watch American History X. Okay, just kidding again. Just kidding again. Sorry, folks. Okay. From Memento, we are going to watch Inception.
Oh, sweet.
I've actually never seen
Never.
it. That's the reason I'm picking it. I've never seen Inception. Hopefully somebody else has not seen it, but I know it's a solid Christopher Nolan movie, and hopefully there's some good discussion.
How on earth have you never seen this movie?
Well,
Which is weird because you are a Christopher Nolan fan.
I'm a big Christopher Nolan fan.
Yeah.
Yes, I lied. I watched it once during my drinking phase, and I don't remember it at all.
That's
Literally, do not remember a thing about the movie.
the first time I saw this movie. I saw it at 11 o'clock at night in California, and I didn't remember it either. So
Wilden, have you seen it?
we heard
It's
of
one
it.
of my favorite. I put it in my top 20 probably movies.
I couldn't tell you a thing about the movie, so I consider it I haven't seen it, but looking forward to it. It is on Peacock for those who have access to Peacock.
All right, guys. Next week we'll be talking about the
Saw
movie
it once,
Inception.
right when it came out. I remember very little, so I'm looking forward to watching it again.
Same boat. I have only seen it once, and I mean, I don't think I was drinking that day, so I'm pretty sure I remember how it went. But there's a lot of
Right.
going on that I wouldn't remember.
A second watch is going to clear a lot of things up. I would say I have a firm grasp of it, but I think there's probably, especially with Christopher Nolan and how he's meticulous on how he does, there'll probably be little things that I was like, oh, I didn't catch that the first time or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to watch it again.
Especially if you watch it with intent, as you have said.
Don't say many times. Have I used that many times?
Today was the first one with magnanimous, and I was pretty impressed with that. So
I wrote it down on my hand. In this hand.
in the middle of pronouncing the word, I wasn't sure if I was giving it too many syllables. Is it magnanimous, magnanimous, magnanimous?
Hip hop abotamus?
Yeah.
Hip hop on. That'll do it for this episode of the BTB Movie Club podcast. Thank you, as always, for listening. We know we enjoyed ourselves, and we hope you did too. Have yourself a great week. We are partnered with the SPDM Crew Podcasting Network.